Chris, Peter, and I are on our way vaguely west out of Havana. We are in search of Hemingway's house, and we are riding along in a 57 Chevy convertible. You might hear enough right now to notice that nothing sounds like sort of a stock V8 car of the era. So we're told there's a Volga engine, 4-cylinder, gasoline powered under the hood right now. We've got a 4-speed manual transmission. And even though I'm not the one pushing the pedal to the floor, I think it's safe to describe the accelerative experience as old school. The car itself, though, true to the era and for all the years that it's been on the road, has a relatively steady ride. You feel a lot more vibration and movement through the springs in the seat, which have obviously been compressed and uncompressed for many, many years, than you do the suspension of the car. There's a lot of sort of metal on metal feeling and sound. I'm not sure what any of the rubber components would look like at this point, but the ride is still fairly placid nevertheless.
Every bit of the Bel Air moves as slowly as the rest of Cuban life. The lazy Russian-sourced engine merely hints at acceleration, which is good, because the bounding suspension is hardly up for a hot corner. It takes ages to move the yardstick-like gear lever from ratio to ratio. Even the seat springs seem unhurried to return to their original form after being compressed. To call it a relaxed way of travel is some serious understatement.
Compared to some of the cars that I've seen around here, it is really nice. The panels seem to be fairly original. There's a little bit of, obviously, like pitting and rust in the chrome, but by and large, it presents really, really well. What we don't have are any of the panels that have that sort of lovely hand-beaten quality that I've come to really like, but I think that's probably a good thing in terms of the overall quality. So here we are at Hemingway's house. We've made it all the way here in the 1957 Chevy Bel Air. The roads, as you get further out of Havana, get increasingly bad. There's nothing that's particularly driver-worthy that we saw, at least on the trip out here. More importantly, if we were driving ourselves, we'd be a little bit worried about hitting potholes, stray dogs, people crossing the street, cars stopped in the street, and any number of other obstacles that you don't have to worry about, certainly in the US. The engine is mated up to a 4-speed manual transmission that has throws about as long as my arm, so it's certainly not going to be confused with something sporting there either. I wasn't behind the wheel, so I'm going to guess that the steering was vague, the maneuverability overall is low, but that's the price that you pay for looking kind of baller in awesome tropical country.
You can learn a lot from riding in the right seat of a car. I wasn't lucky enough to drive the bronze boat, but I still feel closer to the classic 50s driving experience than when I landed in Havana.